In this video, I'll show you the three ways, or my three favorite ways, to look at and stay on top of the health of your Arc-enabled SQL servers. In my blog, I mentioned that I've seen a lot of demand, and a lot of customers I work with are Arc-enabling their SQL servers. And the two primary reasons that have come about is because they either are transitioning to a pay-go model for those SQL servers, and with Arc-enabled SQL servers for their on-premises servers, you can now do that, which is kind of nice. You can pay-as-you-go versus doing the traditional volume licensing method. And the second one is when they have legacy servers. So today, that's SQL 2012, SQL Server 2014, that are beyond lifecycle support. And so they're beyond mainline support and enable to them to officially enable ESU, or the extended security updates, to them. That is also a nice benefit, assuming that you Arc enable those SQL servers. But if we do this, one thing that becomes very, very important is the overall health of the Arc connection once it's deployed. That is, we really do need to monitor and make sure that those SQL servers that we Arc enabled for one or both of those reasons are healthy and they're connected. That is, the Arc agent is talking to the Azure control plane, and it is in a connected state. As well as the SQL extension, which the Arc-enable agent facilitates, to allow it to send its telemetry, whether it's for the licensing type of pay-go, or it's for enablement of extended security updates. And this article here is just basically a link that kind of explains, hey, we can do this new licensing and billing type as pay-go, and it explains some of the details for that. And this link here is essentially some information on extended security updates. And specifically, I point this out in the blog, hey, what happens if we get disconnected? Well, there is something to be very concerned with, or very aware of, and that is, if we go down for a while, that is, maybe we have problems, and we just neglect to look at the health of our Arc-enabled servers, and they're disconnected for whatever the reason for 30 contiguous days, that can lead to an unfortunate billing event. So again, looking for the best ways to maybe stay on top of this. And most of the customers I deal with, they don't just have 5 servers or 10 or a couple dozen servers. They've got hundreds, or in a lot of cases, thousands of SQL servers. So what's the best way to kind of herd the cats and make sure that everything is going appropriately? So the first thing I'll point you to, and I point this in the blog as well, is this link. And this is just a general troubleshooting document in our guidance for the Azure extension, specifically for SQL Server, the extension that gets lit up via the Arc agent once you Arc enable your servers. And there's lots of good information here. There is lots of samples, and there's these fairly kind of intimidating looking queries in this thing that point out, hey, if you want to get an idea of where you're at with your health, here are some queries you can run. Well, gee, what is this, right? So there's a lot of them, and this one is probably the best one of the bunch. So if you do anything of the 3 things I'm going to show you, this is probably the one you should run periodically in your environment. The nice thing is that you can copy this as is. So this is basically straight from the doc. I just copied the payload of this, what we call a custo query. And if I jump over to my subscription here, you can see I've got some Arc servers. Some of them are SQL, some of them are not, right? I've got more servers than in SQL servers. In fact, I believe I only have 2 SQL servers on my subscription right now. But what I want to show you is if you go to your subscription and you simply type in ARG or Azure Resource Graph, it'll punch up this document, or this blade within your subscription. And the nice thing is because I copied and pasted that straight from the doc, if I run this query just as is, it will essentially work. And what it's doing is it's showing me wherever I'm scoped to. In my case, I'm just scoped to my one subscription here. I, in fact, have a server here that is not healthy for some reason. So you can see here, it's a little cryptic here, but the output is giving you machine is disconnected. It also passes back a lot of other useful information, such as maybe, when was the last time it reported? Was it healthy? What's the upload status, pagey, etc. And the nice thing is what I find is when customers have hundreds or thousands of servers, inevitably there's going to be at least a handful, especially in the beginning, that will have issues. Maybe somebody flips a firewall exception back the wrong way or misconfigures a proxy server. They're going to find a handful of servers that need attention, right? And so this is the point of this. Out of my tens of hundreds, thousands of servers out there, which ones are right now having a problem and why? Is it disconnected? Is it offline? When was the last time it went, etc.? So again, this is one of the nice things. And of course, with this, you can do all kinds of things such as make your own dashboards, right? It's very easy to take queries and you can make public or shared dashboards in your Azure portal. And that way you can just basically have it as kind of like your, just to look at and refresh it periodically to see what's going on. Okay, so that's way number one. The second way that I have, and I gotta switch my menus around, is from a colleague of mine. This is his GitHub repo that he's created, and this is specifically to troubleshooting what's called the DPS service. Essentially, it's the data processing service. This is the service that's responsible for specifically this SQL telemetry stuff, right? So the things that make SQL ESU enablement work, make Paygo enablement and telemetry work, among other things related to SQL. This is a very, very good repo, and again, I have this link in the blog. But the nice thing is it gives you not only, hey, can you look at what's going on far as what's happening, but depending on what kind of errors come back, he gives some, with screenshots and step-by-steps, he shows you ways in which you can troubleshoot the problem. And again, the nice thing is you can start with his query. And so if I go to his, again, kind of like in the docs, but it's embedded within this GitHub repo. If I go into this, I can copy this very, very intimidating looking Kusto query, but I really don't have to really customize it. I can then come over here, and again, I can pop over to my Azure subscription, and let's just go ahead and open up a new query window, and I'm just going to Control V that right in and run it. And so what this is showing is not, hey, which machines are having issues. This is more of, hey, give me all of your machines, but give me some very, very useful information, such as, hey, especially for Paygo, a lot of times it's, well, I've got systems that I've configured the P core on and some that I haven't, right? So this is a way to make sure that, hey, of all the servers I have out there, is Paygo or the licensing type configured appropriately, along with everything else. Do I have ESU enabled if it's needed? And there's all kinds of information. That's why that Kusto query is so big. It pretty much gives back a lot of the metadata that comes up, and a lot of this is very useful. And I can filter for that, I can sort for that, and all kinds of things. So this is more other than the one that just shows you the problem children. This one shows you everything, and then basically you can filter, maybe pop it into Excel or your favorite, turn into a CSV. And you can start collect, selecting, and filtering it to your heart's content, just for all up information periodically. The third one is, and I blogged about this a few weeks ago, I guess maybe a few months ago now. Another one of my colleagues, Maren Marnov, created this GitHub repo, and this one is just basically a Power BI. So if you're a fan of Power BI, and even if you're not, it's not that hard. If you have access or just download the free version of Power BI Desktop, I can implement this. And essentially what this is just a custom Power BI dashboard, which again, when you log in with your credentials, it by default will take a look at all of the Arc things. And in fact, everything you can see within an Azure subscription. And this is not SQL specific. So again, this documentation rolls around, shows you, hey, this is how this is what the views you get, and then, here's how to install it. It's essentially just download a couple of files and then follow the prompts to sign in appropriately with your credentials, and then off we go. And I've done that over here. So if I pull this up, this is a look at my view. Now I'm looking at a view that's, you can see there's a lot of things here. I can come in and I can look at things like, hey, there are specific SQL ones. Give me all the SQL details across all the tenants and the subscriptions I happen to have access to, right? And I can filter down that list if I want. But as far as SQL goes, or really the kind of the hygiene goes, there's this nifty little tab over here for Arc Agents Hygiene. And this one's nice because it gives me a very quick look at, hey, green's good, yellow, or hey, you might want to pay attention to these. We have to basically maybe take some action here. Red, of course, is really, really bad. That means you've probably gone beyond that 30 or 45 days. We have expired ARC agents, and they really, really need our love and attention, especially if I've enabled things with meters on them, such as ESU and PAYGO and all those things. We need to take care of those. And so this gives us a nice ticker here. So those are the three things. In fact, I lied. I actually have a fourth thing as kind of a bonus. I was thinking about this morning as I was looking to put this video together. I was like, you know what? If I've got the Kusto query, we as humans don't like to actually have to do things. I would rather have something given to me, or at least pushed to me, to tell me what's going on. So in the case of this first query here, if I go back to this one that just shows me, hey, give me the problem child. Maybe this week I've got a problem with this guy, fix it. Maybe next week 8 more or 5 more servers are disconnected for some reason. Gee, I'd like to know that, right? And I don't want to have to remember to run this query all the time necessarily. Well, in that case, we can create a logic app. Now, maybe I'll do another blog and I'll go through the specifics of how I've done this. It's really not, the one I'm going to show you here is really, really not that complicated. Essentially, if you're familiar with logic apps, it's very laughably basic, which is good because it was really easy to do. In fact, I don't write logic apps all that much. And so with the help of especially Copilot, it was probably about an hour's worth of my time to figure this out. But what I've done is I've just created this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 just step logic app. So it starts with, again, a recurrence is basically, these are all built-in modules within Logic App. So basically this recurrence says, hey, run every week on a Sunday. When you do that, I want you to make this parameter call. Basically, if you look at the body of this thing, it's going to do this post. And it's going to do this kind of this nasty. And if you look real closely, this is the exact same query I pulled from the docs, right? Give me just the machines that are having problems and why, and give me all the information about them. And then what it does is I can parse it. I only want to select few things from that information, such as, hey, just give me the machine name, the last reported extension, recommended action, right? And I'm just picking them from the list. Again, I had Copilot's help with this because it wasn't elementary to me because I don't do this every day, but again, not too bad. I decided to create an HTML table to format that and then go ahead and send that via email. And so what I can do is instead of waiting for this recurrence to happen, I can run it manually right now. So if I run that, so you can see that it's already run. Within hopefully 10 or 15 seconds, I have the email, just sending it to my Microsoft email address, and hopefully you'll see that appear here in a second as soon as I get the email. Wait for that to come up. And while we're waiting, I can make sure that the run was done successfully, and it was. It's this one right here. You can see I had some places where it wasn't as successful. So let me do this. Oh, in fact, you know what? It did come up because here it is. Here's the email. And it didn't come up on my sys tray because I'm presenting right now, and Teams by default, make sure, so I'm on do not disturb mode, so it didn't come up. But here it is. So you can see it's dated as of right now. I'm doing this video on a Friday at 1:49 Central. That Logic app gave me a nifty little ARG report. Basically, here's my HTML, right? In my environment, I only have really, one machine that I've intentionally turned off just so I can show that it's disconnected. But you get the point. Essentially, I can send emails. I can have it webhook into ServiceNow or do all kinds of other fanciful things. But anyway, that's about it. I'd say the whole conclusion here is once we go, especially and use things like ESU and PAYG, and especially in a very, very large environment, keeping on top of health is very, very important. But with our tools and the ability to very easily pull out queries to what's going on in our environment and use some basic things such as recurrence on status reports, those types of things, it's not too bad to keep on top of. Thanks for listening.